Welcome to 12 Ounce Sports Radio and The Burn with Mitch Show. Here's your host, Mitch Bernstein.
And a good evening to everybody. How is everybody doing tonight on this Tuesday? Already January the 19th. Wow, we've already got through 19 days of 2021. How's everybody's doing okay? Continue to get through this crisis. A new president coming in tomorrow. Lots of sports news, and we have a big show tonight. Lots of things going on, and we are going to get right to it. Let me tell you what's going on this evening on our show. First off, we have 4 guests. So first off, at 6:20, we have Tabari McCoy. You can find Tabari at TABARIMCCOY. Tabari reached out to us. He had seen that we were looking for folks to contribute to my card collecting segments, and though we weren't going to start them just yet, well, guess what? We're starting them tonight. So Tabari is a sports fan. He's a writer, a movie critic. He's got a podcast. He's a card collector and a comedian. So this could be a fun little conversation we have about card collecting and being funny. So stay tuned to that at 6:20. Followed at 6:45 by Frank Close. Frank is a on air with 97.3 ESPN and Philadelphia Sports Talk, talking about Phillies. So we're going to get into mostly Phillies baseball, the signing of Archie Bradley, the potential positive things we've heard about the Phillies signing JT Realmuto. So Phillies offered JT a contract just north of $100 million for 5 years. So let's hope that things come to fruition and we get JT to get that contract signed. 7:15. A gentleman from Philadelphia. He is not somebody who's necessarily in the sports field, but he wrote a phenomenal book, and I'm in the middle of reading it, and it's got a special place in people's hearts. For those of you who have seen The Field of Dreams and like the movie, Brett wrote an incredible book. Is This Heaven? The Magic of the Field of Dreams. And he's got a foreword in here by Dwyer Brown, who played Kevin Costner's dad in the movie. So we're going to talk to Brett about what his thoughts were in writing the book, why he wrote the book, what's going on since then, and I will share some of my story of me going to the Field of Dreams and meeting Kevin Costner. That was just kind of a surreal night. We'll follow up the show at 7:40 with one of our own at 12 Ounce Sports Network, Pete Tucci, the real Pete Tucci. We're going to talk NHL. And by the way, you are listening to 12 Ounce Sports Network and The Burn with Mitch, and I am your host, Mitch Bernstein. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Great show, like I said, tonight. We're going to do a couple of shout-outs right now, and then we will take a quick commercial break, and then come back and do a little sports roundup news, talk about the NFL playoffs that we saw on Saturday and Sunday. It was lovely time in front of the television, just barely enough time to get up and go to the bathroom, but that's what halftime's for, right? And eat some food. We had some really good games, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Major League Baseball. The problem that the Mets have had, and now they've rid themselves of their problem with this general manager they hired. So we'll talk briefly about that. We will talk about and talk with Frank about the Yankees signing DJ LeMahieu, and what does that mean for free agency right now? I don't think teams and players are really asking for what they would have in a normal situation without the pandemic. And I'm going to ask Frank what his thoughts are on that. And then we're going to talk about briefly the NHL. And again, we'll talk more about that with Pete at the end of the show. And a quick burst on the NBA. So that's it. So let me give you my shout out. So those of you who are familiar with the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, I've had this woman on my show. She was terrific. She just celebrated a birthday this past weekend. So Maybelle Blair had her 94th birthday. And in honor of her birthday, she started a fundraiser to develop, I won't say develop because it's already in existence, but I guess a more substantial baseball center for women in Rockford, Illinois, which is the home of the Rockford Peaches. She played with the Peoria team, the Peoria Red Wings. And as of this moment, for all of us who helped raise this money, her goal was $9,400 in honor of her 94th birthday. But so far, the number has reached $14,000 plus. So congratulations to Maybelle and all of those who have supported Maybelle in this process. It's great for women in baseball, great for women in sports. So congratulations to all of you who have helped with that. And then a shout out to Big 12. Big 12 34 was supposed to be on the show tonight. He had a minor medical issue. We're going to talk about Sixers. And unfortunately, he can't make it. I hope, Big 12, if you're listening, I hope you're well, getting there. And we'll get him back on in the near future. So more to come on that. Pete Tooch, you know what? We're going to talk hockey. You know, you haven't been doing well, but that's okay. When you come on, we'll talk quickly about hockey, and then we'll see what else you want to talk about. Maybe NFL. We'll see what happens. But right now, we are going to take a quick 2-minute commercial break. We'll be back, and we'll do a little roundup of all the sports going on right now. All right, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
At Amazon, we're pretty good at getting things done. We're pretty good at solving problems. COVID-19 is the biggest challenge we've had to face. But challenges are what motivate us. Like flying masks to our employees around the world. We're doing everything we can to get you what you need, and doing everything we can to keep our people safe. I'm former Navy pilot Sarah Rhodes, and I'm proud to lead our Amazon Air network.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the program. You're listening to The Burn with Mitch on 12 Ounce Sports Network. Your host, Mitch Bernstein here. Let's talk a little bit about what went on this weekend with the, first we'll start with the NFL playoffs. And Rams and Packers, I saw that as a Packers win. Rams really didn't have much to go on. they were banking on previous week's victory, but I just didn't see them coming out on top of this week against the Packers. The way Aaron Rodgers was playing, the entire team, they rolled over them. So Packers beat the Rams. I was hoping for the Bills to beat the Ravens, and the Bills did. They showed they were a superior team. What was awesome to see this young kid, Josh Allen, play, and it was really fun to watch him do what he had to do against that Ravens defense, and was another. I don't know that it was exciting as much as it was just fun to watch. Same as the Browns and the Chiefs. The Chiefs, it was a little hairy for a while, but you had another miracle quarterback come in, Chad Henne, first postseason playoff game, and he picked them up when Mahomes went down, and the Chiefs prevailed over the Browns. Browns didn't have their best game. Chiefs did not have theirs either, but they prevailed and going on to the championship game. And I wanted the Saints to win. I was hoping for Drew Brees to go out. I hadn't heard that he was going to be, this could have been his last game until the broadcast started. And then we heard that. It would have been nice to beat Tom Brady. A lot of people don't like Tom Brady, including myself. Is he good? Yes. I will quote Sidney Crosby when he was asked about the Flyers and what his thoughts about them. He said, "I don't like them." And the reporter asked him, "Well, what don't you like about him?" And he says, "I just don't like him." Not a great response for a professional athlete. I just go back to Tom Brady not shaking hands. Sorry, I'm stuck with it. I'm stuck on that. You show sportsmanship. You're a leader. That's what you're supposed to do. He doesn't do it. He's a sore loser, and I hope he gets the crap beat out of him this weekend. That's all I can say. All right, I'm hoping he gets the crap beat out of him. So we'll see what happens. I'll tell you what, though, that Tampa Bay line, he did not get sacked but once, I believe. So you got to give kudos where it's due. And the Bucks protected him. And that team has gotten better and better and better throughout the season. And we were looking at them. I know I was looking at them going, you can't fault Brady. You got to appreciate what he's done as they got better towards the season. So as the season went on, so it was a performance by the Tampa Bay Bucks. They got better week after week. Credit to the coaching staff and credit to Brady, even though I don't like him. So that's that on football. Not sure. Well, here's the deal. I'm going to go for Packers and Bills in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm hoping. I'd like to see the young kid go against the older guy. As one of our Sports Talk radio hosts called it, the AARP game between the Bucks and the Saints. I would like to see the old guy go against the young kid in the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to fun football, 2 games this weekend, and then the final big game is coming up in 2 weeks. All right, let's focus now on, we'll go to basketball real quick. Season's progressing. It's again, there are a few teams in each division that are still there. They're in the mix. I'm not going to go through them right now because they're pretty close, everybody. I think in the Sixers division here in Philly, everybody is within 3 games of each other. So no one's pulling away just as of yet. And that'll be remain to be seen and see how this goes. It is a sprint this year. The Sixers, I know, are playing 5 games in 7 days. That's a lot. So, and some people were questioning why Joel Embiid wasn't playing. And the common thought was, well, he ain't playing because they got to rest him. Not what we're used to seeing with star players, but hey, I guess it's a load management thing, and that's what's happening these days. Um, so we just did basketball. We'll go to hockey. Um, and again, obviously, very few games have been played. Here in the East, the Flyers won their first two, and haven't been didn't they got beat by Buffalo last night. Tonight they're playing Buffalo again. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to watching a little bit of that game. I haven't been able to watch them yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we're going to talk about little Rangers, maybe a little Rangers with Pete, see what he's got on that. And then Major League Baseball, still a lot of free agents out there, but we're going to talk to Frank about this. The Phillies did bolster their bullpen by signing Archie Bradley. So that's a great thing. Archie's been reaching out to a lot of folks here on Twitter, and trying to get the lay of the land with Philadelphia. Archie wants JT. Bryce wants JT. The fans want JT. The management says they are doing what they can to sign JT. The offer's out there, like I said before, $100 million plus over 5 years. Let's hope it works. Let's hope it works. And then finally, with baseball, the big thing was DJ LeMahieu. Was he going to sign? It looked like he wasn't. He was fed up. Nothing was going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, word comes out, boom, he signed. So, and what I believe is a lot less than what, again, a normal circumstance. These free agents, maybe they know that they're not going to get what they really want to get this next year. A lot of folks signing on 1-year contracts. So it's going to be interesting in next year's baseball season. Let's hope and pray we can get this season in. Minimum of 130 games. Let's hope and pray that we can get the majority of the season in, and have a good season and get hopefully get to the ballpark and watch some games. So that's exciting. It's going to happen. Looks like, according to Manfred. So we're going to just keep our fingers crossed. The vaccines are out, so let's see what we can do. A little sad news before I came on the air. You may have seen this. Another death, Hall of Famer, baseball Hall of Famer, Don Sutton, just passed away at the age of 75, I believe. So, great baseball career, and he was actually, would listen to him on some Braves broadcasts that we would get on TBS, and he was pretty good. He was good to listen to. He had a good voice. So that's somebody that annoyed you when he was doing analysis. So sad for the Dodgers, sad for Atlanta, sad for baseball as a whole, losing another Hall of Famer. I believe he went over 300. I think I read somewhere that he had 56 shutouts, I think, in his career. Just another loss, and kind of young. I don't know what he succumbed to, but it's unfortunate that we lose another Hall of Famer. So that's the wrap-up. That's the sports wrap-up. And like I said, in just a minute or two, we've got Tabari McCoy coming up. And I believe this is Tabari coming in right now. Tabari, how are you? This is Mitch. Thanks for calling.
I'm all right. How you doing today?
I am doing just fine. Where are you calling from, Tabari?
I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the Reds, Bengals, and subsequently a lot of depressed sports fans. I don't know if there's a connection
Yes.
there or not, but there it is.
I'm sorry about that. I feel you. I wish I could help you, but I can't.
I understand.
Yeah, I know you do. So I'm guessing that you are a fan of, those are your teams, the Reds and the Bengals, right?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I am a diehard Bengals fan. I actually interned with them back in 2000 when I still had a lot of hope and hair.
Yeah.
And I like the Reds, But I grew up in the 80s, so that means I'm dating myself. And I grew up during the baseball card boom.
Yes.
And in the 1980s, the Reds just weren't sexy. And then I would get home from school, and on cable, we had WGN and we had TBS. And this is before TBS became the network that showed every Michael Bay movie on ad nauseum. They used to show the Braves games, and I would get home from school, and the Braves weren't good. And a lot of the Little League teams I played on weren't good. So I could relate to the Braves before I learned that they had a problematic name when I got older. And I'm like, ooh, they changed it in Washington. You might want to get on that.
Yeah.
And I would watch the Cubs, and the Cubs were atrocious. But they had interesting guys. We had Sean Dunston. We had Andre Dawson with the best Jerry curl not seen in Coming to America. And we had Harry Carey. It was perfect. So I like the Reds, but I'm actually a bigger Cubs fan. And I am a Seattle Mariners fan, a Seattle Seahawks fan. I don't know how I got obsessed with Seattle. I got to visit there in 2019. Anything that happens to me at this point in time besides getting married is gravy. I'm a big Seattle supporter. So I'm a sports polygamist.
Yes, you are.
I believe in multiple relationships when it comes to my fandom.
Okay, well, there some people do that, and I accept that. I cannot, but let me ask you about this. Let me tell you about this. So I lived in Chicago, outside of Chicago, in the 80s.
Alrighty.
And moved from Jersey out to Peoria, Illinois, and met my wife in 1980. And then we moved up north of Chicago and then just outside of Chicago. So, yes, those teams are fun to watch. Sandberg was on that team. I mean, they were fun. 84, listen, we know what the Cubs went through, right, in terms of not winning. And 84, if you weren't pulling for the Cubs, you were probably just a San Diego Padre fan at that time.
Exactly.
Right? So it was really fun to watch that team play. You're right. They had a really good team. It was fun to watch. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. But yeah, the Cubs are a fun team. I mean, who knows what's going to happen this year with them? Especially with
and the thing that I don't get about the Cubs this year is they're a big market team, and they're trying to move everybody, sell everybody. I'm like, I've been to Chicago. Y'all can afford it.
Yeah, you know what? The big controversy I was reading was about the owner. I mean, I think there's a lot of money that they've invested in the outskirts of the field, right? In the apartments and the rooftops and everything else. And he's being stingy and saying, we're going to, especially from the pandemic last year. But to the fans, they don't give a crap. He's got, the team is worth billions, right? Nobody cares that they missed. They didn't get any revenue last year. They want players. They want to be competitive. So
I figure if somehow the Dallas Cowboys are worth $1 billion and they haven't been good since a high top fade was in fashion, they should be all right.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there, I guess.
All right, so let's get into the collecting. It was great. Thank you for reaching out, by the way. That was awesome. I appreciate that. So when did you start collecting? In the 80s, or in the 80s, right?
Yes. I started collecting in the 80s because there was a baseball card shop within walking distance of my house. It's maybe a mile, maybe a mile and a half. My friends started walking up there. My mom would take me. We had the Reds in town. I played Little League Baseball. You would get home from school watching that, And as I've joked about on stage, baseball was perfect for a chubby kid because it's like, wait a minute, if I hit the ball far enough, I get to walk, So,
That's exactly right.
So it was just a perfect Lemony Snicket series of fortunate events. And that was also during the 80s baseball card boom.
Yes.
So, everybody my age now, we all thought we would be retiring, hanging out on beaches with all the swimsuit models from those 80s real estate commercials. Because we just knew that Jose Canseco 87 tops was going to pay us off. We just knew that Greg Jeffries was going to be a future star because Tops told us
future
so.
star on the tops, yes, in gray. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I have no beef with Greg Jeffries, but I really
No.
want to tell that man, like, do you know how many of us were expecting to retire off of you, man? You know how many Steve Cersei rookie cards I had?
Seriously, that's a good one. That's a real good one. That's out of the blue. That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was a lefty with an adult film star mustache. You don't forget that as a
That's
kid.
right. That's right. Well, I did because I had to because I got married. I guess I don't know why.
So there you go.
There you go. So what's your collection like now?
It's funny because they always say things go in cycles. I had a really nice card collection, and then it was funny because 2003 I had a dream day job. I hadn't even started doing stand-up yet. 2007 I was on HGTV, bought my house. 2008 bought a new car. 2009 got laid off, and I'm like, whoa, this is not how this is supposed to go. So the economy took a dip. And then, they always talk about you could dig into the archive. So I sold a ton of cards because I needed to. But I also got tired of cards, like, losing their value. Because you know this if you're a collector. Beckett was like the Bible.
I
there
got
was
a Beckett
tough
right
stuff.
here. Yes.
There's a tough stuff. There were some other magazines. But Beckett was like the Air Jordan of price guides.
Absolutely.
It was the most, it was the top tier. And, I would get, you'd see cards. And Beckett, of course, says it's a guide. But, it's only it feels like it's only a guide when you're the person trying to make money. Because, you would see cars listed at $200, $300, and then you try to put them on eBay or sell them at a local card show, and you're getting $50 or $60. And you're like, why did I waste all my time on this and money and energy that I could have put into a home to get a woman to like me?
Yes.
So I sold off a lot of cars, and then but I was able to get a new job last year, and I've been steadily working over the last couple of years of rebuilding certain things. But there's certain collectibles that I've never let go of. But now my collection is actually much more memorabilia heavy than it is card heavy. Although there are a few cards that I have that are in a safety deposit box in an undisclosed location. For anybody listening, you're not gonna get them.
Okay.
But it's weird because every collector has regrets. I have a podcast, a Type 45 with Tabari and McCoy on. And this week's episode, I have on Jeff Rosenberg, the president and CEO of TriStar. And if you know collecting, TriStar is one of the big companies. They have King Griffey Jr.'s exclusive. King Griffey Jr. is my favorite player. And he talked about how in like the early 80s, he bought a Mickey Mantle card for $3,000 and sold it for like $3,400 or $3,300. 3 days later, because that was a lot of money to a teenager, and now he regrets having that. I remember my regret because I had an Albert Pujols 2001 SPX Upper Deck autograph on card auto, and I said this guy can't be good for this long, and I sold it. And what I kept was a 2001 SPX football autograph of Anthony A. Train Thomas. Now, once again, he was a professional athlete. I never made it that far. I saw my first curveball at 15 and quit playing Babe Ruth ball. Anthony Thomas owes me money because I should have never sold that Pujols. But everybody has regrets. So I have it's a very, and my collection is not just sports. It's almost at a 40-year-old virgin-like level, but I say that with a grain of salt because my home will not scare any women off. It's a nice home, and it's confined to a basement and a guest room. Everything else is like a nice, regular home. But I have autographed movie posters. I have a ton of autographed action figures and Funko Pops. And I like the action figures and the Funko Pops because they're a 3D representation of the person. Right. So, it's a little bit more unique. You get the nice statues of them, but I've got movie posters. I got a few hockey pucks. I got two footballs. I have a couple mini helmets. Magazines, trading cards, pictures. I'm trying to think of, I was in Cleveland doing shows at the Cleveland Improv, and I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Right. And Antonio Fargas, a.k.a. Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch, was there. So I had him sign a piece of paper.
I got you.
It's pretty much, if it's collectible, there's a good chance that I'm either into it or know somebody that is.
Right. So can you tell me what's in that safety deposit box? I'm curious to know.
Well, let's see. One of the good things that I had the vision to do, although I didn't have enough good vision to do it, is that you might have heard of this guy named Thomas Brady. I remember when he
He
won
plays
his first Super
he plays
Bowl,
football, right?
yeah,
That
well,
guy.
I knew him as an UGG boot salesman myself.
Okay.
But yeah, after that, he won that first Super Bowl. I went on eBay and said, I'm going to buy an autographed rookie card of this guy if I can get it. And at the time I bought it, it was the most expensive sports card I had ever purchased with my own money because it was $80.
$80 then, huh?
It was hot because it was his first Super Bowl. It was $80. Yeah, I looked at that value the other day and I'm like, well, I do want to like get a new dishwasher, paint my kitchen cabinets, get a new floor. You know, there was a card show here in Cincinnati. There was a guy. He had some, and he was as a fellow African American because there's not too many of us in the hobby for a lot of different reasons. It seems like, but he had a nice booth set up with a lot of different NBA cards, and he had a Michael Jordan autographed jersey card numbered to 50. Ooh. And I remember I traded him a Kevin Durant rookie, which I was able to later replace. Okay. And maybe 2 or 3 other cards for like $400 worth of value. Okay. And the last offer I had on it, I think, was $3,500.
Nice. And
so for every loss,
yes,
you get those rare wins. Like I had an Eli Manning card, and I went to the Indianapolis Super Bowl Fan Fest back when we could go out in public and I had to wear hazmat suits like Dustin Hoffman in Outbreak. And it was numbered 2 out of 3, and I had gotten it as a replacement from Upper Deck because Mickey Rourke did not sign his cards back when he was hot from that movie The Wrestler.
Right.
And it was the Indianapolis Super Bowl when Eli Manning was playing Tom Brady for the first time. And, you know, I had some other Eli stuff, and I was like, well, I'll try and sell it. All I wanted for an Eli Manning card, number 2 of 3, was $100. The best offer I got was a Pawn Stars like $80. That $80 number once again.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'll just hold it. And I was watching the Super Bowl with some friends. I had friends over, and I made an eBay listing, and I said, if they win this game, I'm going to hit, as soon as the final whistle goes off, I'm making this card live. And I think I put a buy it now of $230.
Okay.
It was gone in 38 seconds.
Is that right?
And all I had wanted for it before was $100.
Right.
Couldn't get it. And then I doubled what I was asking for it.
Isn't it amazing?
Yes.
Isn't it amazing how that works?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's again, 80s we know, junk wax overproduction, yes. But these I have gotten into now. And have you been, so let me ask you this, because there's a huge card community, and I just got some responses today from some guys. Are you on Twitter on the card within the card community? Because you can get some nice deals from a lot of guys who have. I mean, I love the relic cards. You know, when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, I don't remember seeing any relic cards at all. And the first time I saw a uniform patch, I went crazy. I said, "Holy crap, this is really cool!" Not even an autograph, but just a patch. I'm thinking. Well, and whether it was game used or not, I didn't really care. Then the back cards came out. I'm thinking, what the hell? This is really cool. So I look more for those. Do you like those? What are your thoughts on those relics?
I mean, I used to like them a lot, and then the thing is that America does everything to excess. This is why we're not built for a pandemic, because we have to have it, and then we do it until we overdo it. To quote that song from Scarface, we push it to the limit, because it went from being like, okay, here's a back card of a legendary Hall of Famer, to here's a back card of a perennial All-Star, to here's a back card of a guy that hit 212.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, why am I paying all this money once again?
Right.
So the market got oversaturated, and it made people lose interest. And then they stopped going from game used to game worn. And then they got, the guy wore this at a photo shoot. It's like, hey,
yes.
then they just got, like, sometimes it wouldn't even be like a cool thing. They'd be like, well, here's part of a sock. I'm like, I don't need this. Get this tied. Like, and, so they got greedy. The prices got ridiculous. Like, and I know this is like the hot topic right now amongst the card collectors. I cannot believe. I mean, I can believe it because, I mean, it's not like I've never sold I've never picked up anything with the intention of selling it. But I cannot get over the fact how many grown men there are right now stalking out Targets and Walmart,
Yes.
waiting for cards to be
Yes.
restocked. There are the people who are the professional pack searchers. This is what got me away from cards and more into memorabilia. I can't deal with these grown men, these grown comic book guys from The Simpsons, these grown 40-year-old virgins who are sitting there like, what's a naked breast? They're like a bag of sand. Like, I can't deal with these dudes. They're sitting in there, and they have no shame. I remember 2 years ago, I was at a Meijer before I went to a movie screening. And there was a guy, if he had felt the packs up anymore, they would have put a hashtag of Me Too on it. I'm sitting there like, and I'm like, the amount of time and energy that you have to put, like, so now, I mean, every once in a while I'll go to Target because I have wrestling figures because, once again, I'm an intelligent man.
You are, yes.
But, I go in there, and 2 weeks ago, I just happened to go to a Target when the lady was restocking.
Mm-hmm.
I just did an experiment to watch. I bought a box and got junk, of course, because that's my luck.
Yes.
But she put out 80 boxes of Prism football.
Okay.
It went from one guy waiting to 3 and 4 guys waiting, and they were all gone within 2 minutes.
I was going to say, I bet you they cleaned them all out. Yeah.
They cleaned them out like it looked like a scene in the 80s movie when a millionaire gets evicted. It was ridiculous. And that's why this is not a hobby anymore. I'm going to say this.
It's
I
a
hope
business,
all your listeners
right?
hear me. This is not a hobby. I just got an email at 6:01 from Panini, online exclusive. 2020 Panini Honors NFL trading cards. 1 on-card graded auto, 1 sticker, 1 base parallel. And this is the thing. This is going to dry up like it did before because it's not going to dry up from overproduction, but it's going to dry up because you have people that are going to get frustrated with not being able to find cards. You're going to have people that are going to get frustrated with these ridiculous prices because this Panini Honors box is $800.
It's
$800 in a
crazy.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
And I know that people say, well, if you can't afford it, you don't have to play. All these grown men are going to be gone, and then you're going to have these little kids left. And then when you read a Beckett as a grown man and you see an 8-year-old kid pull a Jim Brown autograph number 3 out of 5, you're like, you know who Jim Brown is. Like,
I know.
And it's just as bad with the in-person graphing because I started to go do some in-person graphing, and I try to be helpful because I've been around professional athletes. I've been around celebrities and actors and comedians in my different lines of work from journalism and being a performer myself. And you treat people like you want to be treated.
Right.
But these guys, there's for every nice collector, I've met a ton of nice collectors, people that have helped me out and this and that. And then I see these grown men trying to get people to sign 50 cards in a row. And it's like, how do you, like, you're not going to justify that. I see the teenage kids who, in this era of Maury Povich and Eric Cartman from South Park, they're running around. They're trying to play on their youth to get these guys to sign and flip and flip and flip. And once again, for anybody listening, I have sold stuff that I have gotten before, guilty as charged. But everything that I get with the intention of keeping it for myself. And if I get an extra of somebody, cool. If there's a private signing coming up, cool. But some of these people, like, I get if it's your business, but some people go out of their way to be a complete and utter, and I'm going to keep it clean for the kids, to be a complete and utter jerk. And that is not the word that I would use otherwise.
I know. Tamar, I feel the same way. I mean, it really, and you run the gamut when you're a kid, you like to collect. And listen, you and I are saying the same thing. I love to just go in and spend. Now, of course, the Topps packs they went from $1.99 to $2.99, right? I can't find them anymore. But just a small little bit of excitement to say maybe I'll get lucky this time because I have no luck either. But I get in there and I go and I see on Twitter these guys pulling. They buy one pack, and I trust that they're saying they only got one pack and look what they pulled.
See, that's the thing. I don't.
You don't trust it? You don't think so?
Because it's a business. Yeah. How do you drum up business? It's 3-card money. How do you drum up business? You make it look like it's easy. There are good people. There are good people to follow on social media. Powers Autograph is a great guy to follow. Patrick Ryan, the P. Ryan Collection on Instagram, great guy to follow. But, you know, a lot of these box breakers, and now we got celebrity people getting into the game and everything else. If Jay-Z was coming up today, he wouldn't be rapping about selling drugs. He'd be talking about, I was in the Target with trying to get a new pack of panini.
Right.
You know, it's just, it's terrible now. And the companies, they're a business.
Yes,
for every
they are.
company that, you know, yeah, I mean, they have different price points, but remember how much more fun it was when everybody had the baseball license besides Topps? Remember how much more fun it was
Absolutely.
when everybody had a football license besides, you know, Panini? And sorry, hockey people, I don't collect hockey. There's like 5 black hockey players I'd like, plus a Wayne
right.
Gretzky and a Martin Messier. But I don't, like, the exclusivity, it doesn't make it better for the collectors. You know, they went from having too much product to not enough. Now it's all about the scarcity. With the pandemic, we've got private signings. The guys are getting record-breaking amounts of money. And I get it if I'm an athlete. Because, you know, it's never enough for the average fan. I mean, there's one fan. For every one fan that, you know, does the right thing, behaves in the right way, you got 2 and 3 other guys. I don't know the guy, so I can talk about him. Some guy came here in Cincinnati 2 years ago outside the team hotel for the Cardinals, 20 bats in the bag.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's just obnoxious to me. It's just obnoxious. Now,
Yes.
again.
And I'm going to say this, too. It would help if some of these guys literally didn't dress their stereotype. I was in Baltimore. There was a dude wearing 5X and 1 basketball shorts. First of all, how dare you and 1? That guy ain't shot nothing. Oh, let me not go in too hard on it. But, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
It is. It's unfortunate. It is, I mean, again, like you said, for those guys doing it as a business, fine. But
yes,
it's tough. I mean,
but the thing that keeps me going with it is when you run into somebody who's a guy you never heard of. He turns out to be great.
That's
you run
the
into
thing.
an athlete who doesn't usually sign. He can tell that you're genuinely a fan. You know, he likes it. You get that rare pull from a pack of cards.
Yes.
You get the cards you never thought you were going to get, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Here's the other.
It's a balance.
Here's the other one. Okay, and I had some boxes sitting in the basement, and I said, oh, maybe I should open these up. Let me see what I got. Maybe I should. No, what am I going to sell them? I don't know. But the fun part is where I had opened them up, and you look and you go, oh shoot, and you end up with a past Rookie of the Year in your hand, going, oh dang. Look what I got, and that's the fun part. That's the real fun part for me is I don't have many. I haven't opened now. Haven't been able to buy much because my local Target doesn't. I can't find any. I just can't find any.
There's different apps out now. Like when people were trying to find PlayStation 5, I'm not going to say the names of the websites, but there's different websites you can check stores' inventory trackers. I've done it finding wrestling figures.
Is that
so?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, I'm seriously like, I can't watch that show Snowfall on FX. It might be a good show. I'm just too busy dealing with the dope game of cardboard of millionaires who could care less about my existence in most cases.
I know. All right, listen, Tabari, I want to thank you for coming on. You were fun.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate you taking the time. We're going to have you on again because we don't have enough. I'd like to talk to you for a few more minutes, but I got to move on to somebody else, unfortunately. But really, thank you for coming on. It was a blast.
No problem.
And I'll reach back out to you maybe during baseball season. We'll have you come back on.
That'll work. Anybody that wants to follow, you can find me on all my social media at Tabari McCoy, Tabari. McCoy common spelling. Website's the same name with the .com. And hopefully we can get through this pandemic because I am ready to go to a game again, watch and enjoy a game in person. I'm ready to go wait for millionaires to look at me like I'm stone crazy. And then I'm ready for that rookie that I don't know is going to be
Who's
great.
that going to be?
Sign a baseball for me and blow up.
Who's it going to be this year? I can't wait for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, same here. All right.
Well, you have a good one, sir.
Appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Safe. Bye-bye.
You too. Goodbye.
Well, that was he was fun. That was fun. Enjoyed that conversation. We could have talked forever. Um, Going to get some more. He was pretty funny. He had a couple of little jabs in there. It was great. So we got Frank coming up now. We're going to talk a little bit of Phillies. Hello, Frank. This is Mitch. Thanks for calling.
Hey, happy to talk to you.
I appreciate you taking the time. It's awesome, especially we're going to talk our team, the Phillies.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So interesting. Let's go back a bit from and take it from the back end a year ago when this team did not want to sign an extension to JT. And so, what were your? Did you think about that as the season went on? What were your thoughts on that?
It seemed like last year they were all set to sign him, and then the pandemic kind of got in the way. Last year, if they had signed him before the season, it would have messed up their luxury tax for last year.
Okay.
And then I think what ended up happening was, as they got to the point where they could have signed him and it not hit last year's number, that's when the pandemic happened and everything kind of fell apart. And the Phillies, like every other team except for the Mets, because their owner is brand new and didn't lose a bunch of money last year,
Right.
Is going to have tight purse strings this year. And I think the Phillies just basically said, well, we need to figure this out in the new way of baseball. And I think they actually played it pretty well.
Yeah, it seems like it. So, a couple of questions. I got to write down some notes here things that just pop into my head. I'm just making a quick note. So JT is still, obviously we know is still out there. I was happy when the Mets signed McCann, and then we hear DJ LeMahieu signs, and Toronto doesn't think they can afford him. So again, and Ken Rosenthal tweeted this out that it may be that he comes back to the Phillies. I'm thinking that way right now.
Yeah, when you started looking at who was going to pay money for a player, a lot of those boxes got checked off pretty quickly. Now the Mets, if they hadn't signed McCann, maybe they're just sort of lurking there and driving up the Phillies' price. But interestingly, they had their sights somewhere else, and it ended up being on Lindor, which is a great pickup for them, by the way.
Yes.
So they got their star player that they wanted, and a catcher who is very, very good. And one thing that we keep hearing, and we heard it through the arbitration case last year, is that the catching position just commands less money, and the reason why is most catchers. I mean, even though Real Muto played the most in the league up until the end of each of these past two seasons, when he slowed down a little bit with a couple little nagging injuries, you don't play every day. I mean, you play most of the time, but you don't play every day. So that's one consideration that happens. And the physical toll the catching position plays on the body. That is something which is very important too. So the Mets, they basically said, we can minimize our risk by giving McCann 4 years at $10 million per, and if you eat the last season or part of the third season even, it's still not prohibitive for you to go get another catcher. So they, from their perspective, they said, all right, we'll get the catcher position covered with someone who's very good, and then we'll bring in a star at another position. Now the Phillies seem like the way that their roster is currently set up, they could use the star power at the catching position. And, the other teams that are out there, the Blue Jays wanted to add an impact player. The Mets certainly did with Lindor. You hear the Angels want to add somebody, which is probably going to be Trevor Bauer. It's just not lining up where there's a whole lot of teams willing to give big money to the catching position. Right. And it seems like the Phillies are more willing because, let's face it, their best catching prospect is Rafael Marchand, who debuted last year, but he was very, very young, rushed up from Class A, and they really have no heir apparent or real solution to get somebody. So it seems like they're perhaps better suited to take a little bit more risk because he's more invested in the community. If he's just a nice player to somebody else, but if you've seen JT Realmuto play the last couple of years and the fan base fell in love with him, I mean, he's probably going to have more value to the Phillies than other teams right now.
Absolutely. And Archie Bradley. So, why do you think Archie decided to come here? Do you think it had something to do with pitching to Realmuto?
Maybe. I mean, they're both Oklahoma boys, and in fact, Archie Bradley today put out a tweet that was to the effect of him and Realmuto being the. I can't remember now what movie he was parodying.
Did you
Go
see
check
that?
out Archie Bradley 7 on. Yeah,
I saw that with the Realmuto had a lot of hair on his head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody go check that out.
Yes.
Archie Bradley 7 on Twitter.
Yes.
But I think too, it also had a lot to do with Caleb Cottom, the new pitching coach.
Pitching coach.
With the Reds last year, and I mean they weren't together too long. They were only together from the August 31st trade deadline up until the end of the year. But there's some familiarity there, and if Bradley was thinking, okay, I can choose between the Phillies or the other options he had. I mean, we don't really know what they are, and he decided to go to the Phillies. So probably some comfort there. And let's face it too, I think this is a really good sign sign as in a signal to the future because the Phillies got him for a very reasonable deal,
very
$1 million
reasonable.
1 year. And I think a lot of it is this financial climate that people can't totally foresee right now. So I think what we're going to see from now on is a lot of players signing 1-year deals for reasonable money, hoping that next year they'll be able to cash in a little more. Because remember, this is 2 years removed basically from when Pat Neshek and Tommy Hunter got 2-year deals for like $18 million and $16 million. This seems like it's a bargain, and so. If the Phillies can grab a couple more bargains like that, there are some relievers left, and hopefully this helps set the market for the remaining relievers, and maybe the Phillies can get in on them.
Well, yeah, a lot of things you just brought up I wanted to talk about. It does seem that so many players are getting 1-year deals this year. And to me, it was like, okay, maybe this is what the reality is going to be this year because of what happened last year. And it gives them a shot to perform well and get a bigger deal next year where, knock on wood, everything gets back to normal. So I said this, I'm thinking the same way you are, which is interesting. And I also believe, and it used to be, players, and I think the important part of that, Frank, and correct me if I'm wrong, the players are recognizing that you know what, and they didn't used to be that way, I don't think. Right? I mean, it's always trying
I agree with you.
Milk the owners as much as we can, and it just seems that the players have come more into reality that, listen, they don't have the money, and I want to play. I'll take my 1 year and see what I can do. Does that sound am I thinking that right way?
Yeah, I mean, COVID certainly has created a lot of uncertainty. We saw even the last couple of years, there have been some players as you got to the end of free agency that didn't get what they wanted, and they ended up getting way, way, way less than they expected. And so I think that was in their minds even before COVID, that sometimes people may have overshot a little bit on what they were expecting. And you know what? If you're a player who believes in your abilities, if you believe you can put together a good year, then you get a nice deal for this year, and then perhaps you're one of the people next year. I mean, if your agent's smart, you're probably looking at next year's free agent class as well, and maybe there's an extra option out there because one of these players decides to take a 1-year deal. Now, I think Didi Gregorius is going to be very interesting to look at because last year was supposed to be his 1 year. I'm going to reset my career kind of deal. And I don't know that he's got a lot of interest at multiple years, often because of the economic climate. So he might be another kind of guy where you see a 1-year deal for reasonable money, and then next year he goes back out there.
I'm thinking that you're somewhere near me because you're reading my notes. Frank, my next name on my notes was Didi. And could he come back? I mean, I'm reading that it is a possibility. Depends upon Realmuto if they don't have to spend as much, and they can give Didi another 1 year, maybe 1 year with an option. because I don't know who is down in the minors and triple double A that could come up and play shortstop for us. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that they can listen. If they can get Didi and JT, my only issue is second base. And you know what I would do? I would not play. I would, obviously Kingery is going to be on the roster. I would go back. I would go and pick up Caesar. I would go
Well,
get it.
I think a lot of this depends on where they think Reese Hoskins is, because and if there's a DH. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the one kind of wild card here too. I mean, Alec Boehm can play third base or he could play first base.
right.
If Alec Boehm is playing first base, well then maybe you have Gene Segura at third, and then maybe
Mm-hmm.
Scott Kingery at second. But I think the ex-Philly that's going to make more sense at the moment is not Cesar Hernandez, but rather Freddie Galvis.
Freddie. Okay.
Because I think from what I can tell, they don't want Gene Segura to have to go back to shortstop. I think they'd rather
Yeah.
play Gene Segura at third or second.
Second. Mm-hmm.
Or there were some trade rumors around Segura, earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
If you can trade him, well then that helps your cause to re-sign Didi. But I think they want a shortstop. Someone who is a little bit better up the middle there from the left side. I don't think they think Segura is it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to add a shortstop. So if they can't get Didi, you might see someone like a Freddie Galvis, not because he's a former Philly and people know him, but more so that they just need somebody who's a veteran that can come in for the year.
Yeah.
Because their number one draft pick from a couple of years ago, Brayson Stott, might be ready to play shortstop for them next year. So
Okay.
it's really hard to tell because there was no minor league season last year, and
Right.
Stott is now 23 years old, and if he at 23, a lot of times guys are breaking into the bigs, but you
Yeah.
didn't see him last year, and he didn't see some advanced minor league pitching. So they did bring him up to the alternate site last year to get a little bit of a look at him, but that's not the same as seeing live game action. So,
Right.
so I think if they can get Didi, they'll grab him and then worry about Stott later. But if I don't think they're going to go too crazy looking for a shortstop. They'll try to get a stopgap and hope that Stott comes up later. But
Mm-hmm.
but they have some options. I think it's really nice that Gene Segura can play a few positions.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are down on Scott Kingery. He got COVID pretty bad last year. And,
That's what I heard.
He really got a late start, and he wasn't the same. I'm willing to see what he does, at least in the beginning. I mean, second base isn't a position that's hard to fill if you need to make a midseason trade. So
Mm-hmm.
I would be, if I'm the Phillies, I would be okay starting the year with Scott Kingery at second base and seeing where it goes from there.
Yeah, if they have a spring training, I think what I really think they're going to do, and they should do it, and I think Girardi will, is really put him out there in a lot of spring training games. Just to, again, spring training is spring training. We've seen Scott Kingery. It wasn't last year, maybe been the year before, where he came out hot and then boom, boom, done. He was hitting the ball crazy in spring training, and then he got up, and then it was again nothing. So I'm not a big believer in him. I don't feel like he's up there when he's up there that he's really. I just look at his body language, and I don't see somebody who's an intense guy. I don't know how smart he is, and I would rather see somebody else on the team. I hope again that all right, yeah, give him a shot. He had COVID. All right, give him a shot and see what happens. So we'll see what happens. We will see. What about the other big deal here is center field. What's going to happen in center field?
I think center field you can get by with what you have. Especially if you can re-sign Didi. And if you have Didi and JT, I'm okay with Roman Quinn and Adam Hastley and maybe Mickey Moniak and maybe Scott Kingery, depending on how it goes. They have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of options, and you know what though, I I think, and I said this a lot before on the radio. I really think that one of these years, Roman Quinn is just going to happen to be healthy for the whole year, and he's going to put together a really nice season. I don't know if it'll be with the Phillies because at some point if he gets hurt again, I mean that's probably it for him, right?
Yeah.
I mean I think that's fair to say because the Phillies at some point won't have the ability to keep running him out there. But Roman Quinn is so talented and he just lays it all out on the field, and I would love it if I could see him play for just a full season and see what he can do. And, could this be the year, or could this be the next year he gets an oblique injury or breaks a hand? All injuries are all these different things. It's not even like
crazy.
he's got a recurring problem, right? Because he really doesn't. So
Right.
I think if he just happens to be healthy, I mean, I'm sure he is with the trainers, talking about conditioning and trying to do his best to stay healthy. If he can put it together, he could be very good. Now, there is talk about letting Odubel Herrera come back to camp.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah. Aside from his personal transgression, he wasn't very good before he got arrested. So I don't know that. I don't know what's there. I mean, he's somebody that had talent in the past, and you know what? If you're satisfied with the counseling he's been in, he's still with his girlfriend where there might have been an incident. So, and he seems committed to that, and he seems humble. I'm not around him all the time, so I can't really judge how sincere other than how he seems on the surface. But
right.
But he didn't get to play last year at AAA because there was no AAA season, and I think part of the thing was if he had played last year, besides rebuilding his baseball career, he could rebuild his trust.
Correct.
And I think that if he has the opportunity to rebuild people's trust, they might give him a shot to play. But then again, like I said, he wasn't doing that well before the incident. So, I think he's the guy that had some talent, but I don't know. I don't know if he got apathetic. I just didn't like what I saw from him as a baseball player even before the incident. So he's somebody that they could let come to spring training. Maybe he appears in games in the late innings, and then he's going to really have to claw his way back though. But again, he's a center fielder, and he's somebody who's not on the 40-man roster, so he's not stealing a roster spot from somebody else. So
right.
You might see him in the mix, but besides showing he can play baseball, he needs to show that people trust him again. I think that's going to be the hardest part.
Yep, he can be to make better choices for sure. All right, last topic is probably the most important, and we're talking about the rotation. Frank, what are we thinking? Eflin, Vinny, Spencer Howard. I read a thing about Spencer Howard the other day, that he. And this is great for a young kid to recognize the fact that he knew he wasn't where he was supposed to be or could be or should be. And it was, I think the spotlight, even though there were no fans, the spotlight of being up, he said he wasn't ever comfortable. So let's hope that our new pitching coach, this kid's got talent. I'd love to see it this year because, we all heard about Spencer Howard, and then he gets to the mound, and I'm not seeing it.
Well, the good thing is expectations are low, but why? Because right now, when I count the number of starters, you have Nola, Wheeler, Eflin. I'm not worried about them.
Right.
Then after that, it's just Velasquez and Howard, and there's no depth beyond that. And I don't know why, but they seem to be opposed to having left-handed starters.
Right?
What's
the deal?
They gotta bring in. If you're asking me my opinion, they have to bring in a left-handed starter.
They have to.
They need somebody who can compete with them at the very least. And it could be that, Howard and Velasquez wow everybody, and Cottom loves them, and they want to be in the rotation. But you need somebody else. But there's certainly a number of lefties out there that you can sign. Now, of course, we don't only want to sign ex-Phillies, but J-Hap, Cole Hamels, they'll be cheap. They're the last 2008 Phillies left. It's kind of funny especially if they signed Hamels. That would get fans really excited about this team again.
Absolutely right.
I don't know how much he has left in the tank, and he might be hurt again this year, but I don't know. But you need some depth, and I would have liked to have seen them be in on some of the names like Robbie Ray and Mike Miner and
Yep.
and even Drew Smiley, but a lot of them were signed early, but there's still some people out there. So I would like to see them make a deal with one of those lefties. And then somebody who could start who's kind of a veteran-ish type starter who can kind of hang out at AAA if necessary, and you have some depth. I mean, they really, really need options. Because what happened last year towards the end? Well, guess what? All of a sudden, they didn't know who was starting. Like I remember trying to figure out. Of course, they had 80 million doubleheaders, but they just didn't even have enough. Like they had 4 starters trying to pitch 7 games a week, and that's 7 games in 5 days, and it just they were so exposed. And so they have to have some depth. And last year there were no prospects in the minors working their way up, and that makes it tough. I mean, Adonis Medina came up for a start, but you don't know what he could give you next year. I mean, he has to go back in the minors and kind of build up some stamina and show that he can start. And someone like Jojo Romero, who was a starter in the minors, he came up and was a lefty reliever, and he's probably going to stay in that role. So I don't think they're gonna have him start. And poor Ranger Suarez, I mean, he seemed primed to win a spot in the rotation last year, and then COVID got him really bad. So you need some depth, and I'd rather see them get too many and then have to make some tough decisions at the end of camp. But I think they need 2 more starters. Again, not necessarily like ones that are
number ones or twos.
Rotation.
Right.
Yeah, but just one who can be a lefty towards the back, and somebody who can compete for a spot and you can keep in the organization.
And listen, we don't know what Hamels has left. You're right. If in fact he's healthy, you got to bring him. Even if he's throwing 93, right? He's still got the changeup. Now it's better with a 96 to the changeup, but I think you got to get him. I think he's got to come back. You got to think he would want to come back to here. The Braves. I love the fact that the Braves spent all that money and he didn't play. That got screwed.
I mean, granted, it was a third of the season, but they spent like $6 million for 3 innings.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not complaining out in Westchester. I'm thinking he's still living in Westchester.
Yeah. Baseball reasons, though, I think I would prefer Jay Happ if you're going to go for an ex-Philly lefty. Just because Happ has showed his ability to adapt over the years, and but we'll see. I mean, the Phillies sound like they'll be active still these last couple of weeks, and I will say I talked to somebody from Old Dominion Freight who takes the truck down to Clearwater, and they say they're still on schedule. So,
all right.
I think Truck Day is February 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's coming. So
nice.
they've got to decide. They've got to decide soon whose jerseys they're going to pack.
Exactly. I mean, I was just going to go into that too with you. God, you keep reading my mind, Frank. This is kind of scary. February 17th, pitchers and catchers. It's a month. It's less than a month away. And Manfred has said they're going to try and get in a full season. Again, knock on wood. Have you heard anything at all about? And I'm guessing no. About the potential for fans coming in. Have anything been leaked or talked about that at all?
Not yet. I memean, it's really, really odd because spring training games start on the 27th, I think it is, that Saturday. That was 27th, 28th. Yeah, they're the first 2 games. I've had flights and then canceled flights and then tried again. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're up in the air, huh?
I might get to the first 2 games, but I might also, if COVID is bad, I might say no, I'm not doing anything. I mean, I could get a vaccine soon and feel safe to do so, and I might decide not to. So I made sure I bought refundable flights so that I could figure this out. And then the question, even beyond whether fans can go, I mean, if I can use my press pass and go, that's one thing. But if fans aren't allowed in and the press box is full, I mean, I'm lower on the totem pole than Jim Salisbury and Todd
Yes,
Pilecki, of course.
unfortunately, right.
So I mean, there might not be room there. So
Right.
so much is up in the air.
Yeah.
I think the next 3-ish weeks are going to be really crucial, just in seeing how this vaccine is going, and as more and more people get vaccinated, what the effects are, in terms of the spread of COVID. And I mean, I'll tell you this: Florida loves to have no restrictions on anything.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the state of Florida might be okay with fans going down before other locales are, but I think people are in Major League Baseball, like every day they're looking for every piece of information they can get, because they want to do this. They want fans there, obviously, because they need the income. They need the spring training income to be frank too. So they need this to happen if they can do it. But they can't commit far out because we don't see where things are going. Because as I talk to you today, of course, we're still within a week of like the worst numbers of deaths in this whole thing. So
yes,
but depending how fast they can get people vaccinated, I mean, this could get better way fast. So I think this could be one of those things where we just kind of have to wait and see, and if they make it work, they can make it work, and if they can't immediately, then fans will be along the way. I mean, I was looking at some. I think it's Washington University has that COVID-19.healthdata.org website, which is very respectable. And if you look at the numbers of infections and deaths, with vaccination, they just see between now and May, it really just dipping down to, or even into April, dipping down to like nothing. So, but that's with everything working out well. If people are willing to commit to their masks, if they're willing to commit to getting vaccinated, this could be over sooner. But everybody's got to do their part, and hopefully they do, and there'll be baseball sooner than later. And even if you can't have fans in the beginning, or you have to limit the number of fans in the beginning, hopefully by midsummer, people will be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Maybe, wait till after Memorial Day, maybe 2 weeks after Memorial Day, when there could be a spike, perhaps, like it's always been for holidays. And beginning maybe middle of June, they start letting in 10,000 people, that kind of thing. So, like I said, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, you know what? This is not a political statement, but the president that's being inaugurated tomorrow, he says 100 million people in the first 100 days.
I saw that.
That's a significant chunk of the population of a country of 330 million. So if that works, again, I'm not making a political statement. If that works, then we might be in a better shape, because that 100 days is into April, and we'll see where that goes.
Absolutely true. Well, listen, I want to thank you, my friend Frank, for taking the time to call in. It's been a pleasure I love talking Phillies. I mean, I could do this all day, especially with somebody who knows. So I've been talking to Frank Close, and you can find Frank at, just as his name is spelled, FrankKlose. He's on 97.3 ESPN and Philly Sports Talk. Is that right?
Sports Talk Philly.
Sports Talk Philly. Sorry about that.
Yep. No problem.
Frank, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on, and I'm going to definitely reach out as the season gets going, and we'll, as season starts, we'll get ready to go again. That'd be awesome if you could do it.
Sounds great. I'll chat with you soon, Mitch.
Thanks, Frank, for calling. I appreciate it, and stay safe.
You too. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye. So, good stuff from Frank. Enjoyed that conversation. And now I believe we have Mr. Brett Mandel calling me in. Hello, is this my friend Brett Mandel?
Hello there. How are you?
Brett, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Terrific. Thanks for taking some time tonight. I was as soon as I found you, I had spoken to you. We had talked, I think, before, because your name was familiar all of a sudden, because you played men's senior baseball, right?
Indeed, still do.
Yeah. And I had reached out. I had gotten. I don't know if you remember this. I was working at a place, where Ryan Vogelsong worked out. And
Okay.
I thought, but this would be kind of cool. I wonder if there'd be a nice little article for the magazine. And I think I got you as a contact, and then you sent me to the other folks, or maybe I don't know if I sent you the article or somebody did an article. Anyway, Vogelsong ended up helping me. He gave me lessons in pitching, which was amazing. So that was
That's awesome.
yeah, it was really kind of fun, really awesome.
Very, very small baseball world, of course.
Oh my gosh, it is, and he's obviously listen. This is before he, I think this was before the he became a World Series champion. So that was even cooler because he wasn't cocky. He was nice, which was even better. So Brett, you and I have a common bond here with the Field of Dreams.
It is an amazing place, and
Oh.
I was thrilled to write a book called "Is This Heaven? The Magic of the Field of Dreams" that came out almost 20 years ago.
20 years
And
ago.
when they decided to have the Major League game at the Field of Dreams, my publisher asked me to do an updated version of the book that catches people up on the history of what's happened and how Major League Baseball came to play in Iowa, hopefully this summer.
Yeah.
So the book is now republished with a new afterword, and it's a great story of a very special place.
It really is. I was reading through. I haven't gotten through it, the entire book yet, but reading from the beginning, and then just started last night the afterword with the update, and I was great because I saw that you mentioned in 2006. I got that right in front of me. For example, as part of a Netflix sponsored promotion highlighting famous films in their locales, Kevin Costner and his band Modern West played a concert at the Field of Dreams before an on-field screening of the film. I was there for that.
How about that?
Brett, I'm writing this. So I've talked to some other guys. I have a gentleman coming on next week who does baseball storytelling, and he and I talked, or tweeted or emailed, and I asked him. I said I have a desire, and I'm in the middle of writing this up. What this entire experience was like. It was surreal. I'll get into it in a little bit because I think you'll like to hear a little bit about it, but I want to talk more about the book and how it all started for you in getting this done 20 years ago. What was the impetus behind this book?
So I had written a book about minor league life. I spent a season signed to a minor league baseball contract to tell the inside story of the minor leagues, kind of a Paper Lion meets Bull Durham story called Minor Players, Major Dreams. And a couple of people looked me up after I wrote that book and told me that there was this incredible phenomenon going on in Iowa where people not only were excited about the film Field of Dreams, but they created this pilgrimage to the movie site. And it was preserved as it had appeared in the film, and people were not just going out there to see the site, but to experience these incredible emotions and these incredible stories of family reunions and fathers and sons and mothers and sons reconnecting at this fake place made real by these incredible emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took some trips out to Iowa. I spoke to a lot of the people who went and helped make the place so special, and I wrote about it. And of course, the story has not ended. It's now more than 30 years since the film came out, and people continue to go. More than 100,000 people every year are going to Iowa. And again, not just to take a quick picture and say we were here, but to have some really intense emotional experiences reconnecting with loved ones at this special place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I read about several things. I mean, there's so many dad and son stories. I read last night about the wedding that took place, and those folks who had, I mean, God bless them. They had an accident with the van, and they were able to get out there. What are there any that really, really stand out for you? Any of those stories?
I can tell you that I have never been out there myself personally without having something extraordinary happen. And I can remember when one of the times I was out there doing research for the book, and part of the fun that I did was just stand on the mound throwing batting practice for anybody who wanted to take a swing, and then chatting people up. And I told some folks, well, this is why I'm here, this is what I'm doing. And one of the people asked, well, what are some of these stories that you're telling? And I told them about Jim Bone, who saw the field as a way to reconnect with his son, who was killed in a terrible plane crash, and some of the other stories. And the woman said to me, well, I don't know if this would fit your book, but when I was walking out in the corn, I heard my mother's voice.
Oh my gosh.
My mother has been dead for decades, and I heard her. And this was just on a normal day. And then years later, I was back at the field signing books, and a woman bought one of my books, and I was autographing it. And I asked her where she was from, and she said she was from Dubuque, which, of course, is about a half hour away. And I said, oh, you must have come here a lot. And she said, no, actually, this is the first time I'm coming. You see, my husband died a year ago today, and I'm coming here because this was a very special place to him. So it's not just what you see on screen, and it's not just the stories in my book, but real people every day have these very, very special and very, very intense reasons for visiting this place.
Yeah, it really is special. And you wonder Dad, you want to have a catch, and then the tears start flowing.
Of course.
And, I didn't, my dad was helping me play Little League, and so we had catches, not a lot, but he was there and he would go to games. I do remember, but what about that specific scene? What is the deal? Because it grabs everybody. It grabs if you don't cry. In essence, some people say then there's something wrong with you. What is?
Well, of course, it's a very powerful musical score. It's a very beautiful location. But I think we all, each of us, think about the regrets in our lives, think about if I could only have a second chance, if I could only say something to my father, my mother, my grandfather, if I only had another chance to go back and see my high school sweetheart or connect with a best friend who's long gone. Each of us lives with some regret. Each of us would love to have a second chance. That's the catharsis of this field, is that the field gives you the chance for the second chances. And as Moonlight Graham in the film said, you never do know which of the moments of your lives are the important ones until you can view them in retrospect.
Yeah.
And when you can have that second chance, as Kevin Costner did on screen with Dwyer Brown, who, by the way, wrote the foreword to the new edition, which was very exciting, you seize that opportunity. And when people ask me, what's it like to go to the field, I always say, I'll tell you exactly what it's like. If at the end of the movie, when you see the line of cars stretching the horizon, it's like you're arriving at the field the day after the movie was filmed, and you're a part of that long line of cars, because that's exactly what it looks like when you roll up, roll down that hill, which is a little more than a dirt road, and then you find yourself at this pristine baseball field next to a lovely farmhouse, and you can just step up and take some swings, throw some balls around, and you do expect, when you're looking out at the corn, for something magical to happen. And wouldn't you know it, for a lot of people, something magical does happen.
Yeah, it's I think it's the entire experience, in the fact that they didn't do this on a set, friends. This was filmed right here. And
yes,
for the Hollywood types, that also has a big impact. I know it does to me. And then this year I actually went this past summer, and it was great because there was hardly anybody there because of COVID. And they when we went in '06, you weren't even to the house, you weren't even getting close to the house, and now they're doing tours of the house, and everything is the way it was in the movie, and you really harken back, and I have a great picture my brother-in-law took. He and I went with my daughter, who's the baseball one, who's listening right now, and it's my social media manager, Kelsey. He has a great picture of us, and every time I look at it, it's in my bedroom. I'm not framing it yet. It's a canvas. It's a great picture of me and my daughter sitting on the porch swing, looking out into the field.
That's lovely.
From behind us. And every time I go in the bedroom, I like it even. I like it more and more every time I see that picture.
Well, the story of how people interact at the field is also an interesting story because, as you know from reading the book, for a long time there was a divide that half the field was owned by the Lansings, who were a little bit shy of allowing people to do some very commercial things at the field, and the Ames camps, who were a little bit more excited about having the ghost players pretend to be the Black Sox coming out of the corn and putting on a little show. And then more recently, the field has been taken over by a different group that still preserves the field as you would have seen it in the film, but also has been a lot more excited about having events. And one can even rent out the Lansing farmhouse,
Right.
And spend a night there, and wake up at the Field of Dreams and look at the field at night like Kevin Costner did in the film. That it must be an incredible way to experience this unique place.
It is. It really is. And what I want you to do now, throw us some information in terms of the book that was the movie was based on, Shoeless Joe. How interesting was that?
Shoeless Joe was a terrific book by a man named W.P. Kinsella, who was an author who spent a lot of time in Iowa. In fact, wrote another book called The Iowa Baseball Confederacy that I think is a terrific book. I think it would make a wonderful film, and any movie producers out there who want to get a terrific film on the screen, that's a great one. The story is much as you see in the screen Field of Dreams. There's a couple of the characters, the oldest living cub, and the Kevin Costner character has a twin in the book, but it's almost identical to the version you see on screen. It grabs you just like the film does. Among some of the interesting things, Shoeless Joe was the name of the book, but apparently Kinsella, the author, had originally wanted to call it Dreamfield. So when Field of Dreams was made, he was asked, well, do you mind if we call the film Field of Dreams? And he said, no, coincidence. I was going to call it, Dreamfield.
Right.
And that's the way it seems to go with this life imitates art, imitates life, imitating art is, it is as if everything that this field has become was somehow predestined.
Yeah. And just so, and again, it's all about, second chances, looking back, could I do it all over again? Some iconic moments in the movie for me are obviously, what's his name? James Earl Jones's character.
Terrence Mann.
Yeah, Terrence Mann. That soliloquy on the field, it's baseball.
Sure.
It's baseball, Ray. It's baseball. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Doc Graham stepping over and going back into the field after he raised his daughter, and then just the joy of Costner, of Ray, pitching to these guys. And I know that I read some of the information that was a what was it? He just kept throwing, right? Costner.
Sure.
He just threw, and they were having a blast with it. And that one that went back to the box obviously wasn't planned, and Costner did a great job getting out of the way of that thing.
And Costner's a ball player, and Tim Busfield's a ball player. And,
yep.
I'm lucky enough to go back to the Field of Dreams for the 25th anniversary celebration, which was great fun. I was the least well-known celebrity that played in the celebrity game and had a great time. I played on Tim Busfield's team, and we lost to Kevin Costner and Dwyer Brown's team. Bob Costas was on the other team. Brett Saberhagen. I robbed Brett Saberhagen of a hit at third base. And
Nice.
I managed to hit a line drive right through Kevin Costner at shortstop, which was a lot of fun. And my son went with me for the trip. He was 8 at the time, so we had our catch on the Field of Dreams. And just like you said, watching the movie at that location, I described it, and my son, of course, had no idea what I was talking about, but it was like being part of M.C. Escher painting where you're part of the screen watching the film, but also in the place where the film was filmed. Very House of Mirrors kind of feeling.
It is. So, real quickly, I have to share this with you because I know you'll love it. So, in '06, I was in Peoria, Illinois, visiting my in-laws. We were going to go camping, and we were going to go to the Field of Dreams. And we happened to go to a minor league Peoria baseball game, and my father-in-law, may he rest in peace, knew everybody in Peoria. He was a civil engineer. And I was sitting behind him and this guy, and the guy says, "Oh, Jim, what are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, we're going camping, and we're going to stop at the Field of Dreams." The guy says to him, he goes, "Oh, I hear Kevin Costner's going to be there."
There you go.
I immediately jumped out of my seat pretty much and wanted to get the hell back to the house to get on the computer to find out if this guy was telling the truth. Got back to the house. We were going to go, I think, on a Thursday. He was going to be here on a Friday. I forget what day it was. I run into the house. I said, we may have to change our plans. I run up to the stairs to get on the dial-up computer, and I'm looking and looking and looking and looking and waiting. Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner, boom, there it is. Netflix celebrating their 10-year anniversary with films. Kevin Costner is going to be at the Field of Dreams on this day. I print it out. I run downstairs. I said to my wife, we're changing our plans. I print it out and showed it to her. She looks at me. She goes, I guess we are. So we ended up getting out there. We stopped in Galena. Didn't know that that's where they filmed Doc Graham's scenes with Burt Lancaster. It's an hour to the field from there, and I'm dying. I got to get to this place. What if Costner's not there? What if he's not there? Blah, blah, blah. We get in the car, and I tell you, if I'm trying to drive the car myself in the back seat to get there quick, I'm like,
how was his band? I've never heard him play.
Oh my gosh, it was just like, so we finally get there, and we had, we knew the movie was going to be shown. We took all of our stuff, chairs and coolers and stuff, and we get there, and we park the car, we get on the bus, and I'm ready to get out of the car onto the bus, and I'm running there, and my wife says, "Get back here." I said, "What?" She goes, "We have chairs and coolers. We need your help." Oh, crap. Okay, I get on the bus. We take it all. I get on the field. Long story short, I ended up buying a baseball. We're waiting for Costner. I'm hearing people say, "Oh, he played. He was out he was out yesterday. He's not going to come out." I'm like, "Oh, crap." I go buy some stuff at the souvenir shop. All of a sudden, there must have been 10 media trailers, right? Out walks Costner of his trailer. Whole crew of people, mostly women, come by, and I'm like, "Oh, crap, I'm never going to get there." I had the baseball in my pocket, the Field of Dreams baseball. All of a sudden, like Moses parting the Red Sea, right? Nobody's there. Brett, nobody's there. I'm like, holy crap. What do I walk up to Kevin and say? "Want to have a catch?" He signs the ball. He signs the ball. Wasn't even looking at me. He gets his band goes and plays, and all of a sudden, it gets dark. The movie's playing. First of the two, "Is this heaven?" And I'm getting chills as I speak it. "No, it's Iowa." Everybody clapping, quick. And then at the end of the movie, same thing. At the end of the movie, we're done. There's a full moon over the house. And I'm looking at the cars leaving on the path. I'm like,
yeah,
this is unbelievable.
As you experience, you almost become part of the film when you're there, as
yes.
if there's a sequel or as if there's another scene after the credits. It is a neat place. Costner, of course, bears a burden being the person who brought this to the world as the actor, and so everybody wants a piece of him. And I
Yes.
can only imagine that when he has made his trips to the field, that it must be hard to enjoy that for him, because everybody wants to know what he thinks and wants an autograph. I had the briefest opportunity to chat with him when I was there at the 25th anniversary, and he and the other actors all feel very special being connected to this.
Mm-hmm. They really do. It was, they have a souvenir book. I've watched the documentary with Costas when he was there, and they do. They all. It's just so cool that they all have this connection, and they to me, Timothy Busfield was the most surprised. He could, from what I read, right, he couldn't believe how much of an impact it had.
Absolutely, and it's funny, he's been in a lot of different films, and he's the villain in this movie. He's the one who doesn't believe. So there are people who are, I wouldn't say cold to him about this field or about the film, but to them when they're meeting him, how could you not believe in the field? How can you not believe in the magic? And he has to remind them it was a character. I was just laying a part.
Some people, it's amazing. But again, the other iconic part was, Timothy Busfield. All of a sudden, he gets, the whole time he's the villain, and all of a sudden he sees the players. It's like, okay, we're in. Just amazing. I am so glad I can't wait to continue to finish and read the stories, Brett, of this book. And anybody who has been out to the Field of Dreams, not been out, just watch the darn movie. You got to get this book. Is This Heaven? The Magic of the Field of Dreams. Again, updated 2020, which is great, Brett, for doing that. It's a forward by Dwyer Brown. And it just gives you a lot of background information on the book, on the movie, on the background, how it all came about. And then all of Brett's stories in the book are just, they're heartwarming, they're sad. And, some of you, if you're listening, will be able to relate to it. So I would suggest picking up this book. It's just a phenomenal, fun read.
Well, I certainly recommend that people go on a weekend when it's not the Major League game this summer. Of course, the Major League game will be a lot of fun and terrific to watch on television, or if you're lucky enough to be in the stands. But go some weekend when you can enjoy the field by yourself, with your dad, with your son, with your mom, with your grandpa, and experience the quiet and close your eyes for a second and open them, and you're in the film.
It's just an awesome thing. And then, like I said, we went out this summer. There was hardly anybody there. Actually, some of the Ghost players, Brett, were there, and we were able to video them with us walking from the cornfield onto the field. Oh, my God.
Those guys are fun guys, and they have been tremendous ambassadors for the field. Some of them appeared in the movie, and they've traveled all over the world as a part of this. So incredible little celebrity for them.
Yeah, and they were terrific. And I actually, don't tell anybody, but I actually picked up, between you and I got my daughter found a vial, and I picked up some dirt, put it in a plastic bag, and it's sitting in my basement now. And the grass is still, it's brown, but it's still there, and the dirt's there.
I certainly won't tell. If you don't tell, I have a vial of Field of Dreams dirt on my desk as well. It's very, very special. It's next to a picture of myself with my son, and I was lucky enough to have a catch with my dad on the Field of Dreams.
Nice.
And then brought my son and had a catch with my son on the Field of Dreams. That was terrific. I had a fun time. I went to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, to skate with the Hanson brothers for a Slapshot reunion.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That was fun and just a hysterical time for a day. But being on the Field of Dreams is a little bit more meaningful, a little bit more special.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Brett, thank you very much for coming on. I couldn't wait to talk to you the whole time we decided to do this, because
Thrilled to join you.
It's awesome. It's just awesome. Thanks for writing a book.
Thank you so much. Glad you enjoy it.
I did, and listen again. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate you coming on, and continue to be safe. And then we'll see what else comes out from Brett Mandel.
Keep watching. Thank you so much. Be
All
well.
right, take care. Oh my gosh, the Field of Dreams. What a place to go if you haven't been there. Um, Try and get there if you can, folks, or pick up this book because it's awesome. It's just really really awesome. All right, coming up, one of our hosts from Pete's Power Plays. It's Philly Pete. Pete Tucci coming up. I think I pronounced his name right. If it's wrong, he'll tell me. I am ready for him to call. All right. We're going to talk a little hockey and maybe what else he thinks he would like to talk about. So we are waiting for Philly Pete to give me a call. Talk about some fun stuff in addition to his thoughts on, and there he is. All right. Yo, Philly Pete, how the heck are you?
Mitch, how you doing, my man? Glad to be a part of tonight's show with you. How's everything?
I appreciate it coming on here, my friend. Everything is good. Everything is good. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain. It's been a rough week, last week with everything going on, and I'm glad that it's a new week and ready to rock and roll. It's been a great weekend. My wife and I got away, so can't complain. Things are great right now.
Good for you. Terrific. Glad you could take that time. Yeah, it was. Let's see. Let's say we can start anew tomorrow, all of us, which is great. So Pete, what about hockey? What about your Flyers?
Hey, man. I mean, started off great, 2-0.
Yeah.
But, first two games against the Penguins, no problem. A nice butt kicking, I would like to say. And by substantial amounts, too. I mean,
Yeah.
more than 2 goals. It's been great, 6-3 and 5-2. And they're looking good. And then last night, big bombshell, 6-1 defeat to Buffalo. But, you got to look at this squad here. And I believe right now it's 0-0 for them.
Is it? Okay.
Now.
I was just going to look it up.
Now. Yeah. But you have to imagine, like, this squad is going to be good. I mean, Nolan Patrick coming back. I know, and now he's hurt again, but it shouldn't be for that long. And having Oscar Lindblom on the ice after battling cancer is a great highlight for this team coming into this season. Joel Farabee, a great start to the season for him as well. 4 points already, a goal, 3 assists in the first 3 games of the season. Can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that. So I like these players that are coming up. Even Lindblom, 2 points to start off the season as well. So I mean, this is what I like to see. Travis Konechny right now, the hottest Flyer, 3 goals, 2 assists already with 5 points to start the season. I mean, he's almost averaging a point a game, basically over a point and a half a game so far. So I like what I'm seeing with this high-powered offense, and this is going to be a very exciting season.
Yeah, listen, I am a Ranger fan, and because I'm a Ranger fan only because, listen, I grew up in North Jersey. I didn't start with hockey, but I got into hockey when I was around 10. Never played it. Wish I could have. But back in and I go way back into the 60s and 70s where, it was just 2 brawls a night, especially with the Flyers, and you had the Bruins, and you had all these teams that had all these superstars. It was great to watch. Rangers never won a cup until '94, which was, now I can die in peace. Lots of shit out there. So I've been here for 25 years, and watching the coaches go in and out, and then the general managers, and really looking at it objectively. And I'm telling you, last year, I think they go far in the playoffs if COVID doesn't hit. What do you think?
Yeah, are you talking about the Flyers?
Yeah, they were playing so well. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean they were they had the 4th seed overall in terms of the play-in, and they had to knock out Washington and Tampa Bay and Boston, and they ended up being the number 1 overall seed in this seeding format that they had last season.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing really hot hockey. They won 10 straight in a row until the Boston Bruins knocked them out. Obviously to knock out their 10-game winning streak. But this team, between them and the Rangers, it's funny you bring up the Rangers because they were also hot during that time before COVID hit. And these two teams, honestly, Mitch, were the two hottest NHL teams before COVID hit. And you know what? It's a shame because it takes a lot of momentum out of you. There's no fans. You don't have the environment. You're playing in bubbles that players hate because they want to be home. They don't want to be in Toronto or Edmonton.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It really, and me personally, like, I would hate that. I would hate to be away from family for, 2-3 months, and you're up there for a long time. So I honestly do think that this momentum, killed them, but I also think the Flyers lost all their stride.
They did.
I felt like they gave it all those first 3 games and those 8 games, getting the number 1 seed, barely squeaking out against those pesky Montreal Canadiens, and they took them to the limit, and then the Islanders eventually knocked them out in 6. But we were tired by that round, and the Islanders are just a better team. And, and I think you're right. I just think that if this COVID never hit and we had the home ice advantage with the fans and how crazy we are dying orange and black, I honestly think that we kind of definitely given a more further route and hopefully playing Tampa in that Eastern Conference Finals. But you know what? It's see what this year brings, and the new season. I'm hoping we have some fans, in the next upcoming months. It'd be phenomenal to have. And look at that, they already have like 4 or 5 arenas with limited capacity with fans. So that is a great start to bringing the fans back to some sort of normalcy, because you and I and the rest of the whole entire world are ready for that next step. So
yes,
it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
It is. It is. Yeah, and I'm looking right now. The Devils are up on the Rangers 1-0 at the end of the first. This Panarin kid, holy crap! I mean, and Zibanejad. I mean, these guys, phenomenal. I mean, I obviously can't watch a lot of Rangers games here.
Right.
But to see, Kako, not only does he have a great, he's a good player, but he's got a great name.
Phenomenal.
I mean, look, Kreider, who's a Steely veteran, and this new kid, this Lafreniere, is supposed to be really good, right? So it's been fun to watch these young guys play. Who else? So let me go here for a second. Let me go to the NHL. So you still have. I mean, obviously it's young. Two games, 3 games.
Yeah.
So in this Eastern Division, Washington, Philadelphia, the Islanders, the Devils, the Bruins, the Rangers, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. Who do you think? Who do you think are gonna come out on top?
Well, I honestly I like it. And now we're in 4 divisions now, and this division the Flyers are in, along with you, along with the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Washington. I mean, even the Devils. It's unbelievable. You had 6. I mean, they're all caliber teams, but 6 of the 8 are absolute potential playoff Stanley Cup contenders in a heartbeat. And of course I'm leaving out Buffalo and Jersey for obvious reasons, but they'll get their chances. And I think Buffalo, it all comes down to Taylor Hall, if he stays or not. Obviously, he signed a 1-year deal. I don't know if he's going to be a rental or not. Jersey's up and coming. I mean, they lost Corey Crawford for the year, and that team is just still young. I think they have a couple of years to get to where they should be caliber-wise. So that's obviously a big hit for them as well. But you look at these 6 teams, and it's like, wow. You obviously have to. It's a pick and choose. Like it's going to be a fight.
A dogfight.
With teams. Honestly, it's tough. It is really tough to see this. Obviously I love Philadelphia, and I'm being biased, of course.
Of course.
That division. Washington's up and coming. I know this is Ovechkin's last year of his deal, and I know they're going to make another push to the Cup. Pittsburgh, I actually, to be honest here, Mitch, I took the under in points this season points for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, did you?
I think they take. Yeah, It's funny. I had them at under 70.5 points, and then they dropped to about 66.5. So obviously,
Really?
bookies know where it's going. Yeah. Yep.
Good.
Absolutely.
I can't stand
So
that
yeah.
team.
Oh, me neither. Oh, I
Oh.
can't. I can't. Listen, being at Penn State for the years I had at college,
Yeah.
and graduating there, and dealing with Pittsburgh fans my whole entire 4-year
Sidney
collegiate
Crosby
career
the
that I had.
best.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it was all Penguins, all Steelers, nonstop talk. I said whatever, whatever, and I'm just tired of it. I can't stand the Penguins. I really don't, and I think they take a step back this year. And I think that listen, that they are, as much as they had the talent. Crosby and Malkin, they're getting older.
They're getting older.
They're
Exactly.
32, they're getting older. They're 33, 34 years old. Time is running out. If anything, who knows when the next time they're going to get a chance to play together and get an eventual cup. But honestly, I just think that they take a step back this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers and Islanders, I feel like the Islanders are another team that make the playoffs. They didn't really lose anybody this season, and I really think they only lost the goaltender Thomas Greiss to Detroit. So I still think that they have a great team, and I think they're still a postseason team. And if the Rangers start playing to their expectations, I mean, they got to get the chemistry together with Lafreniere, with Panarin, with Zibanejad. And that's a three-headed horse right there, Mitch. I mean, that's a great-looking team that you have, and that, again, that's a three-headed horse for you guys. Just get the chemistry together. It's not even a week into the season.
Right.
And you'll get there. You guys will eventually get there.
It is early. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. And listen, you know about Lundqvist. It was too bad for him. I didn't. He was going to be the backup. But that's just too bad. Health is most important. A heart condition. Wow. I think it was a valve replacement or something. Glad they caught that before he started playing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But so they got Georgiev playing goalie tonight. And the other guy is Shesterkin. Is that his name?
Yes, that's it. Yep.
I don't know much about them. Is Georgiev the backup in essence, or is Shesterkin?
Yeah. Georgia. Now, going into the season, they weren't fully committed to having Georgiev being the starter because I don't know. I think during practice he didn't look good. I get it. You're coming back from playing in a bubble from a while, but to me he is the starter. He is the starter, and Georgiev is the backup currently. But again, you get this going, and these guys are young too. I mean, these are young goaltenders. And,
right.
Once that chemistry does build for the Rangers, like I said, I mean, they'll be dangerous in years to come. They really will be. So, coming from a Rangers standpoint, and you being a fan, I mean, I would have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch these young kids grow, and again, the good thing is they have Kreider. I think Kreider was on the trading block last year. I remember when he came up. I mean, he's a big kid, and he just plays hard all the time. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah. He is.
Last question for you: what do you think of your coach?
Listen, man, AV. I like what he's been doing. And he's now a lot of people are questioning, why did we bring him over? Not going to be 60 years old this year, and a lot of questions are figuring out. Why did we have him? We should have gone younger. But I have to like it. I mean, last year he
did
took us to the playoffs.
He did.
He did well for us. He did absolutely well.
Absolutely.
He fought. I'm telling you, the 10-game winning streak. The players were on fire. He knows how to coach. He really does. A lot of people give him a bad rep, and they just don't respect him. But I'm telling you right now, I mean, the reason why we get the number one seed is because our players worked their asses off. And, on top of that, I'm telling you, he knows how to coach these players. He really does. I'm glad he's a Flyer. I'm glad he's part of this team. I really am. I really am.
I think he was one of the biggest reasons that Flyers did so well. He knew, listen, he's an experienced guy. He knew what he had to work with. And God bless him. You watch this team play. And Pete, you saw it. They got better and better and better. Just like, unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Bucks have gone all year. They started out slow. But he figured out the system. He made these guys play hard. And you got to be, you have to be ecstatic with what he did. And that was his first year last year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to. As a Flyer fan, you got to be happy with it.
Absolutely.
And the previous coaches that we had obviously did their job, but the fact that he led us this far and gave us a 1 seed, and of course, like the smoke eventually blew out with the Islanders series, but it's just something you got to look forward to. And it's you get all these players back now, Patrick and Lindblom, and more positivity on the ice. And he helps that. He helps that team. And again, he has so much experience. And it comes a long way. Coaching for so long and having the experience on different teams, it comes a long way, especially teaching such a young group of kids like the Flyers.
Absolutely. Well, Pete, listen, thanks for coming on real quick. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Need working on getting some more hockey guys on, because it's hockey and basketball season. I'm trying to hopefully got a commitment from the Sixers to come on like once every 2 weeks. So I'm excited about that. And then my baseball card folks are going to start coming on, and
great.
I'm looking forward to baseball season starting. So it's going to be fun. It's fun coming.
It's going to be great. A lot of good stuff in the cards for you, Mitch. I look forward to hearing your shows as well.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to go. I'll let you go. I got to give Lou a plug for his show coming up. Pete, thanks. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your hockey knowledge. It's awesome.
Mitch, no problem at all. My pleasure. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Pete. That was great hockey talk from the East Coast here. It's good to get somebody. Again, I'm not as well versed in hockey as I am in baseball, as you can tell. So what do? You find folks who are, and we have Pete, who's great. Pete's Power Play is a show. Look him up on 12ouncesportsnetwork.com. I didn't mention Zingo TV. Upload that to your television. Zingo TV, put in the code 120Z, go to channel 761. You get to listen and watch for free. Lou Gambling coming up. Real Captain Lou in about 3 minutes. He has got the following, folks. At 8:30, he's got Gary Astalos, at Adrian MD1 Hockey, and at ACHAMENSD1. I'm not sure who that is, but Lou will tell you. At 9 o'clock, he's got Peyton Ramsey, Northwestern University football player, recruit. Lou, you got to ask him about his tight end who didn't get much playing time from Dunlap, Illinois. That's my nephew's friend. I'm forgetting his name off the top of his head, but see if you can get a hold of him. Ask him about his tight end from Dunlap, Illinois. At 9:20 on Lou's show is Todd Quarter, the NFL and college football. They're talking NFL and college football, and a lot more fun stuff coming up for Lou at 8 o'clock in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Let me tell you what's going on my show next week. Big show next week, as they all are. Former National League pitcher Jerry Royce is coming on. We're going to talk about Tommy Lasorda, pitching back in the 60s and 70s, that kind of fun stuff. And then we have Eno Saris coming on. He has he had an article out 2 weeks ago, about pitchers and using substances on the baseball. Do they do it? I read that he said that they do. And Mark Gent is the baseball storyteller. We're going to talk about baseball stories. I will also find out what else he does with his trips that he runs. So another great show next week. Thank you for being with me. This has been The Burn with Mitch on 12ouncesportsnetwork.com, 12-Ounce Sports Network. Your host, Mitch Bernstein. I hope to hear. I will be here next week. I hope you're with me with those great guests. And coming up right now is the Captain Lou Extravaganza on 12-Ounce Sports. Everybody have a good week. Take care.